Okay. Hello, everybody.
Hola.
Hola. Okay, so I am just muting everyone here. There you go. Okay. I'm still in techie land. Okay, get present. Okay, I had some wonderful downloads, some with a dear mighty companion of mine, Laverne Shepherd. And she stays on the cutting edge of technology. I just pray that I can figure out Zoom. But she is on the cutting edge. And so I have these delightful conversations with her sometime. And this time we had a conversation and it blew my mind up in a beautiful way. It just, the downloads that came through as a result of that were truly profound. And so I wanted to share with you a little bit about what she was telling me on the phone as a setup for this talk I want to just share with you and then open it up to questions. And for any that are new, I record the first half hour and then I turn the recording off and then it's open to questions and feedback and all that. So Laverne was sharing with me that right now in technology land, they can generate, let me get the name right, a McDonald's fish fillet. They can generate, a computer can generate a McDonald's fish fillet. Just let that set in a second. We're not in a lab, we're in a computer. And from the computer, we can then generate a fish fillet. Okay, now that's the first thing. And the next one that got me so damn excited. And this is all artificial intelligence. So if you ever hear AI, this is this world. And it's nothing to fear, really. It's nothing to fear. And I have so many people that say, oh no, I hate AI. Don't hate it. Don't hate anything. But definitely don't hate AI. So the next thing she was saying, we're like a heartbeat away from having the ability to do is to hook ourselves into a computer and have the computer type out everything you're thinking right now. Now, I say this is fabulous news. This is fabulous news. Because most of the people I work with, and I know it was for me, when I really got keyed into what I was thinking, I was absolutely horrified. Absolutely horrified. I didn't have a nice thought for anyone. It was all pretty doom and gloom. I'm being real honest here. And one of the things I see when I'm working with people is people getting honest with what they're thinking. This is a very hard thing because you have to admit, you see, and I'm just saying this for myself, believe me. But I know there's only one ego mind and there's only one mind of God. So I get, this is what everybody's doing. I didn't want to admit the level of crap I was thinking about you. Really. Because I wanted to be seen as a spiritual person. And most of the stuff I was thinking had nothing to do with spirituality. Nothing. I remember early on when I was trying to watch my thoughts that I didn't even know I was having or thinking, I caught myself thinking a thought. And this was the thought, I remember it. It was a mind-altering experience. A friend of mine was talking to me and I had the thought that I caught, ooh, that color green isn't good on her. Well, who the hell cares? God certainly doesn't, but I did because I thought it. So if we have a computer app that we can actually plug into and it can start typing all the thoughts we're thinking, you know, first, after the first horrific feeling of, oh, fuck, no, really? Is it that bad? Then we can go to work changing it. But if we don't even admit to what we're really thinking, we have no hopes of ever changing it. So we have to get the level of crap that we're thinking as access to changing it. Now, where this conversation with Laverne then took me was to apps. This whole idea of apps. You know, we load them on our phone. They can be helpful, whatever. Well, one of the things that Lauren and I are talking a great deal about is we are setting up, many of you have heard of Spiri. Oh man, it's been through quite a process. We're bringing Spiri back. And it's going to be a standalone app that you download to your phone that's going to have 150 different functions. And they're all mind training tools. And I'm very excited about this. And that's going to happen this summer. We've got a bunch of young techie minds moving into La Casa. And Laverne and I are just going to tell them what we want. And they're going to figure out how to do it on the computer because I'm still working on Zoom. So with this standalone app, I started thinking, okay, when I was born, because really all this is a virtual reality. We call it real life. This is real life, but it's a virtual reality. God sees real life and God only loves. Well, I didn't come into this world just loving everything, even remotely. I used to call myself a heat-seeking missile for error, for looking for error in everybody. And that's not what God sees. God sees only love. So I thought, okay, I came into that. Now, granted, I'm an old fart. You know, I was saying, okay, so we had the iPhone 1 and now we're on iPhone, 27 or whatever we're on. The original app was iPhone 1. Well, my original app when I was born was a rotary dial. Oh, Jesus. And I'm trying to take pictures with the structure in my mind that's still rotary dial. I've got to upgrade my mind, as we all do. If any of you are over the age of, well, realistically, if you're over the age of 20, you're old in technology land. You've got to upgrade the app because many of you remember the rotary dials, and all I can say is getting to the point of awakening to everything being love is impossible on the app you were born with. Impossible. So we've got to upgrade the app. And the way we do it is what we talk about in these meetings. Really unceasing prayer. That's pretty much it. And the Bible, Jesus doesn't lie. And in the Bible, you know, they talk about unceasing prayer. Well, guess what? Yep, that's how you upgrade this app, unceasing prayer. And the prayer is that you'll be saying hundreds of times every day, Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. And if you're not saying it 100 times a day, you're really not committed to upgrading your app. I'm being real honest here, because I know what it takes to change our minds. And I'm trying to upgrade a rotary phone. So it's going to take some work. But with that prayer, what happens? So, you know, you see someone wearing the wrong color green. Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. And then it keeps going on like that throughout the day. What you're doing with that is stopping mind wandering. Because without a commitment to something greater than mind wandering, you're going to be mind wandering and you're going to think, oh, that's a horrible color green. Or that person's way too loud. Or I really don't like them. They really don't like me. Those are the thoughts the ego presents us. And then we buy them hook, line, and sinker on our little rotary app because we have nothing to upgrade it to. So the process of upgrading the app is, Holy Spirit, help me see this differently with everything. And then when you have the second thought, that really is not a good color green, or I don't like that color green. Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. Every single thought that crosses your mind that is not loving. And initially when you start this, I guarantee most of the nonsense that is spent in your mind is crap. So at least if you pray, Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. You're taking up this space in your mind that's usually spent on crap. Ooh, that's a horrible color green. Ooh, I don't like that noise. Ooh, ooh, ooh. And I'm just speaking for myself because that's the way my mind was. And the unwind of that came with a huge, huge amount of commitment on my part, because I knew, and this came up in the morning session here at Namaste, and I thought it was perfect. There is only one power, only one power, and that's the power of love. But I guarantee, and if you're honest with yourself, you'll agree that I believed in sickness, and I saw that as powerful. I believed in death, and I saw that as powerful. And I believed in anger, and I thought that was right. Whatever I thought, sadness, confusion, you know, whatever I thought, I was not using the power of love. So this mind training is really an app to upgrade these rotary apps that we're using to see everything through the power of love only. And right now, the process is a little bit slower because we do have these rotary apps. And we, you know, then we have these feelings. I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm confused, I'm bored, I'm tired, I'm sick, I'm in pain. All those that we've given life to. We've given life to those. We have got to turn that around. And so every time we have a thought like I'm tired, I'm angry, I'm sick, I'm in pain, pray immediately. Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. And then you'll have another thought. Oh, but I'm really in pain. Stop. Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. And you keep doing it until that thought is not running your life. Because it's only by us giving it power that it controls us. So what we're trying to do is replace these old nonsense apps, the thinking app that we were born with, because that was as good of a technology as ego had at the time. We're changing it to the power of love. You know, it's like all of a sudden, you know, you had the, you know, iPhone 1, I guess it started out as one. It may not have had a camera. Well, if you want to take pictures, you've got to upgrade the app. And in my mind, if I have a rotary dial and I want the power of love only, I'm going to have to do something. Now, eventually, Laverne and I were talking about this. It was so much fun. Eventually, you can Google the download, plug yourself into the computer, and you're in the power of love. We're not there yet. So we have to do this manual upgrade. Okay? And it takes effort. And I know I've talked to many of you that have gone through some effort, and, you know, God bless you, Hazel. I'm just looking at you right now because I know that you recently went through a big upgrade, and they hurt. You know, it's visibly painful to change these apps when you have such an old app, because basically what you're having to do is rewire the entire mechanism that we think with. We don't, I mean, computer, I don't know. It's like reinventing the computer first before you can actually change your mind about a belief. But if you consistently do this, and all I can say is it has so played out for me. I live a life of bliss. And this just was not the way I was born at all. I was born to fear. I knew fear. I knew anger. I knew sadness. And so upgrading to love was like, I don't even know what love is. How am I going to upgrade to something I don't even know what is? That's Holy Spirit's job. Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. Holy Spirit is our IT guy. He's the ultimate IT guy. He is the ultimate IT guy. And we can trust that totally. And that's why praying unceasingly is always the best. Again, Holy Spirit sees both worlds. The world that we're perceiving, the virtual reality that we're perceiving as life or whatever, the dream of death. And Holy Spirit knows the mind of God. So as an IT guy, and with our request, because Holy Spirit won't do anything without a request from us. Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. Holy Spirit goes into the computer and goes, oh my God, look what you're making that mean. You're suffering. Okay, let's just rewire this. And then you'll get a little information of how to see it differently in whatever way that comes through. It can come through in a symbol. It can come through in someone saying something. I don't hear voices. I hear my own voice. But now that voice that I'm hearing is actually taking the words out of Holy Spirit's mouth and feeding them to me so that I can hear it clearly. And it alters everything. And all I can say is those downloads from Holy Spirit are never about what to do in the future. Okay, in 3 months, I want you to take a vacation. Not Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit is only now, in this present moment. This present moment. There is no past, there is no future. In fact, here, I had, God, well, I could speak all day, but I'm going to try and keep this as quick as possible. I hear this a lot at Namaste. People have a story about themselves. And there was a story that I've heard from this person over and over and over again. And it's, I have asthma. I can't do that. I have asthma. The ethers aren't clear, whatever. That's how you keep in old programming. If you're repeating something about yourself that is not powerful, but it's from a past idea of who you have been, you're never going to upgrade the software. You gotta stop telling the story. Someone said today that Eckhart Tolle, I think it was, will allow you to tell your story once. Once. That's it. Enough. Done. Don't want to hear you anymore. Come up with something more powerful than your past history. Because that's, I don't know if there's a downgrade to an app, but you're downgrading your Holy Spirit app every time you tell a story about yourself. And most of these stories are told not expecting to get help from anybody. They're just claiming, oh yeah, I have asthma. No one has any help for you, but it's something you're saying about yourself that is making yourself small. It's keeping you trapped in the rotary dial. And you might not want to do that. And what I can say is you can use this. Holy Spirit can use these comments that we say about ourselves that we still believe in. Because they're lessons I would learn. So this story of, history, okay, at some point, some doctor somewhere said to a mother, your child has asthma. She says to the child, you have asthma. And then you Google asthma and what you can and can't do. And all of a sudden, you're living your life as an asthmatic. Now, with the upgraded app of the power of love, okay, love the doctor, love my mother, I ignore the message. Because that's not who you are. You, and hear me, put this in caps in your mind right now. You are a loving thought in the mind of God. Woohoo! And that's all you are. And I say for myself, good enough. Good enough. Now, at some point when you heal these stories about yourself, you can use them as parables, powerful parables, to assist others. That's how Jesus taught. He taught in parables. He talked about the 40 nights and 40 days in the desert with, serpents and fears and all that. But he wasn't any longer controlled by those fears. So now he can share this parable and we can go, oh, wow. Okay, maybe I can do it too then. Then we have a powerful healing tool that we can share with another. But as long as we're believing something, don't share it. No, don't. Like Eckhart Tolle, you can do it once. So be careful where you share it because that's it. You're cut off. You can never repeat that thought again. You know, I say that in jest, but I really offer to you this as a tool, really. It's like, and I did this. I remember when I was still believing in a lot of my stories. I remember when the thought would come, oh, I want to share this to them. And I'd think, ooh, why do I want to share this? What possible? Okay, I've pretty much healed the cancer thing. That's kind of a thing in the past. So initially, I would share I have cancer, and all that came back to me, have you tried this? 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 Oh, and then eat all this and don't eat this. And oh, it was exhausting. Then at some point I started saying, why am I inviting this kind of mind wandering that is just so painful for me? I suffer from others' mind wandering, but the reality was I was letting it in because I believed it. And so I had to stop. So before, well, I was still healing these thoughts. I would, you know, I'd meet someone new, okay? And it was almost like wanting to make an apology for, you know, I mean, one of the things, being slow or not moving as quickly as another. Those are some of the things that come up for me periodically. And so when I'd meet someone, I'd tell them, you know, kind of as an excuse, making an excuse, because I'm thinking, they're thinking I'm moving slow. You know, again, it's all in my mind. And so instead of sharing that initially, just because I wanted them to see me in a different light as, oh, you know, that's why you're fat. And that's why you're slow. And that's, you know, I was seeing it as, you know, somehow to make myself okay in the world. But I wasn't thinking I was okay. I was making all those things wrong. And so I had to really edit myself. And that's why the most powerful lesson I ever learned was zip it. I mean, Holy Spirit would come through and go, shut up now. That's the way it came through to me. Calico, shut up now. Really? I can't share this? Shut up now. You know, Holy Spirit gave me lessons I could understand in the simplest of forms. And they were powerful because then I'd sit with, well, why was I wanting to share that? And I'd see all these excusing myself for being and looking the way I am and appear. Because I wanted to be okay in everybody's mind. I forgot, oops, I am a loving thought in the mind of God. I wasn't buying it because I had a belief you could be sick. I had a belief you could be in pain. I had a belief that life sucks sometimes. In fact, one of my beliefs, it was a core belief, it was from birth. You're fucked. That was a belief I had about myself. Doesn't matter, it can maybe get a little better for a short period of time, but guess what? You're fucked. So guess what? Most of my life, it was, you know, I'd have happy moments, content moments, you know, things, oh, things are working the way I think they should. But ultimately, something would happen to prove to myself, once again, keeping myself in the rotary dial app, you're fucked. Right. No. And this is where, this is the mind training. So when you start doing the contemplation of your thinking, which will consume your whole life, quite frankly, it will consume your whole life. So when you're doing this contemplation with your thinking, and you see something like that, it's like, Holy Spirit, help me see that differently, and bring it on. I've always added that. Now that can be a little scary initially, because what happens, okay, so when you make a commitment, and I'm sure you've all made commitments, there's wedding commitments, there's commitment to eat better this year, commitment to quit smoking, whatever. We've all made these commitments. This is what happens when you set up a commitment. Everything that is not in alignment with that commitment will hit you like a freight train. And that's why it appears when you single out, I only have the desire for God, and you're now in the mind training, and you're looking at all those other thoughts that are coming in that aren't the peace of God. Guess what? They're lessons I must learn. So it's not like we're bad or wrong. It's just like, see the freight train and go, oh, here it comes. And rather than dropping into, like I did, a lower belief system of, oh, here it is, I'm fucked. See the freight train, Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. Holy Spirit, help me see this differently. And eventually you'll be in mind thought app 25,000. You move into the power of love as a lifestyle. The power of love as a way of being, no matter what. And that's why I'm doing these classes, because I want to support all of us on this process. And I'm still, that's all I do, is think about what I'm thinking. Because that's the only place I can get into trouble, is in my head. Doesn't matter what's occurring out in the dream of death. I am, my beliefs keep me pretty tucked into praying unceasingly. And I invite you to take that one on. And the prayer will prevent all these other thoughts from getting in there, because you can really only think one thought at a time, even though initially there's seems like you're being bombarded by thousands of thoughts. But the reality is you really can only think one thought at a time. And that is the thought that would be most helpful to work on. So this is not about digging into your past. In fact, I invite you, do not dig into your past. There's nothing, there's nothing of value there. Nothing. Really, I promise you, nothing of value there. But what is helpful is right now, in this right now moment of what am I thinking now? And Jesus says in A Course in Miracles, the only question we should ever be asking is, how am I feeling? And I tell you, this is what got me into healing the thought system that was giving me great suffering about cancer. I knew I wasn't happy. That's all I could tell you for sure. I am so not happy. And that was an honest answer to the question, how are you feeling? And that's exactly the only fertilizer I put into my mind. It's like, okay, so the Course in Miracles, Jesus tells me my only function is to be happy. And I am certainly not happy. Therefore, function unfulfilled. David actually said that to someone once. It was someone that was living they were living with David. And they were having a hard time, and they were in their bed with the covers over their heads, doing whatever they were doing. David came in, threw the covers back, and all he said, with as much love as possible, function unfulfilled. And he walked out of the room. You know, that's a hell of a way to kind of, you know, oh, okay. I need to re-up this download. It's not functioning well. So I just invite you to take on mind training as if your life depended on it. And not only your life, the life of everything you believe depends on it. You know, it's like if there's someone that you see is suffering, guess who's suffering? Not them, you. And as you heal your suffering, guess what? They're going to feel a lot better. So this is the ultimate power of love we're talking about today. And so I would like to open this up and just invite you, if you, this is so tongue-in-cheek, if you have anything that is blocking your power of love right now, please share. Because we've got a group of people that are committed to the power of love on this Zoom call. And I guarantee anything that's going on in your mind that you're processing through will be helpful to someone else, because there's only one ego mind. There's only one mind of love. But we're attempting to upgrade the rotary dial apps that we have, and it takes something. And so right now we're relying on our mighty companions to see what you're processing and how that might be applied to our uploading also. Okay, so with that, I am going to see. Okay, I'm going to stop recording. Goodbye, everyone in YouTube land. And just to let you know, you can private message me if you're seeing this and you'd like to get put on the email. I will definitely make sure I get your email on the list. Okay, bye for now.